Settle in, listeners, as we embark on a calming exploration of the Roman Empire, from its humble beginnings to its eventual decline. Let the soothing sounds of my voice guide you through centuries of history. Imagine yourself, if you will, on a slow-moving riverboat, gently drifting downstream, the current carrying you effortlessly through time. The water is calm, the air is warm, and the sun is setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Our journey begins in the heart of Italy, a land of rolling hills and fertile valleys. Around 753 BC, according to legend, the city of Rome was founded, a small village nestled beside the Tiber River. Picture its early inhabitants, simple farmers and shepherds, slowly building their lives, their homes of sun-baked brick, their days filled with the rhythm of the seasons. These were not grand emperors or mighty legions, but ordinary people, laying the foundations for something extraordinary. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, Rome began to grow. Through shrewd alliances and careful expansion, it consolidated its power in the Italian peninsula. Think of it like a tree, its roots growing deeper and its branches reaching further, slowly but surely. This growth wasn't always peaceful, of course. There were wars, there were struggles, but Rome, with its tenacious spirit and well-organized legions, persevered. Over centuries, the small village transformed into a powerful republic. The citizens of Rome, though not always in perfect harmony, developed a system of government, a complex balance of power between the Senate, the assemblies, and powerful families. It was a system fraught with internal strife at times, with clashes between patricians and plebeians, between ambitious generals and cautious senators. Yet, through these struggles, the Republic endured, its influence spreading further and further afield. Then came the rise of Julius Caesar, a name synonymous with ambition and military genius. His conquests brought vast territories under Roman control, expanding the Republic's reach across Gaul, into modern-day France, and even beyond. But Caesar's ambition would ultimately lead to his downfall, a victim of his own success, a tragic figure whose assassination marked a turning point in Roman history. After Caesar's death, the Republic's delicate balance of power shattered. The ensuing power struggles led to the rise of Augustus, Caesar's adopted son, who ushered in a new era, the Roman Empire. The Republic faded into the past, and in its place arose a vast and powerful empire, ruled by emperors who commanded legions, governed provinces, and oversaw a culture that would influence the world for centuries to come. The river continues its gentle flow, carrying us closer to the height of Roman power, a time of grand achievements and remarkable innovations. But that, my friends, is a story for another evening. For now, let the calm of the river lull you into a peaceful sleep. The wind whispers secrets through the ancient ruins, carrying the echoes of a city built on myth and ambition. Imagine, if you will, the rolling hills of the Palatine, a landscape still young, still wild. There, nestled among the wildflowers and the rustling grasses, the twin brothers, Romulus and Remus, arrived, their beginnings shrouded in a legend as old as the city itself. Abandoned as infants, suckled by a she-wolf, a creature of both fear and protection, their story begins. Their very existence, a testament to the unpredictable nature of fate, foreshadowed the volatile history to come. They dreamt of a city, a grand and glorious place that would stand as a testament to their brotherhood, their resilience. But the dream, like the seeds of ambition, grew unevenly. A disagreement, a clash of wills, a dispute over the very location of their future home led to a tragic end. One brother fell by the other's hand, a testament to the fragility of even the most powerful bonds, leaving Romulus to establish Rome alone. A single man, a vision, and the raw materials of a civilization waiting to be shaped. The early years were a struggle, a slow, painstaking process of clearing the land, building shelters, attracting people to this fledgling settlement. It wasn't a glamorous beginning, no glittering palaces or perfectly formed legions. Think instead of small, mud-brick homes huddled together, of the harsh realities of farming and foraging, the ever-present threat of hunger and attack from neighboring tribes. Their lives were lived close to the earth, their days filled with the simple tasks of survival. They knew the bite of winter, the heat of summer sun, the unpredictable whims of nature. But within these simple beginnings lay the seeds of something extraordinary. Slowly, steadily, Rome grew. More people arrived, drawn by the promise of safety and shared purpose. The earliest Romans were a hardy, practical people, building upon the foundations laid by Romulus, slowly turning the wild landscape into a community. Their city was a work in progress, constantly being rebuilt and reformed, reflecting the ever-changing world around them. Imagine the sound of hammers ringing, the rhythmic thud of picks against stone, as walls were raised, as defenses were improved, marking not just the growth of a city, but the slow, steady march towards a greater destiny. Their weapons were simple, perhaps bronze swords and spears, but the will that drove them was anything but simple. They were fighters, protectors of their growing community, their spirit forged in the crucible of hardship and early conflict. Think of the clash of steel, the shouts of warriors, the fierce determination etched on their faces, but let it not be a harsh image, but rather a testament to their commitment to something bigger than themselves. Slowly, painstakingly, they built their world. The city expanded, its walls stretching outward, claiming more land, growing in power and influence. The legendary 7 hills became not just geographical features, but symbols of their perseverance, each representing a step towards something larger. The clash of swords was replaced, gradually, by the quiet strength of organization, the steady development of laws and structures, the emergence of a new form of power. And so, from humble beginnings, a kingdom arose, laying the groundwork for a story that would shape the course of history. Drift off now, lulled by the gentle rhythm of history, the echoes of hammers and whispers of legends. Imagine Rome, not as the mighty empire you may picture, but as a bustling city-state, a republic newly formed. The air, thick with the scent of wood smoke and sweat, hummed with the low thrum of 1,000 conversations. Picture the sun warming the stone of the Forum, the central heart of Roman life. This wasn't a place of grand palaces, but of open space, where the fate of nations was decided, not by a single ruler, but by the voices of many. The transition from a kingdom to a republic was a slow, careful shift, a process of negotiation and compromise. It wasn't a sudden revolution, but a gradual unraveling of old power structures, replaced by something new, something fragile. At the heart of this new system were the senators, men chosen from Rome's most powerful families. They were the elder statesmen, the wise advisors, the keepers of tradition. They met in the Curia Julia, a building of simple elegance, where the weighty matters of state were debated, sometimes calmly, sometimes with heated passion, yet always with the aim of reaching consensus. Picture them there, draped in their togas, the sunlight catching the folds of the cloth, their voices rising and falling in the hushed chamber, each word carefully considered, each vote a piece of Rome's future. These senators, however, didn't hold absolute power. 2 consuls were elected each year to lead the Roman armies and govern the city. These were powerful positions, but they were temporary. At the end of their year, the consuls stepped down, their authority relinquished, their power returned to the Senate, a reminder that no single man could be above the law or above the will of the people, at least in theory. Picture the pageantry of their elections, the bustling crowds eager to hear the candidates speak, their promises echoing across the forum. Imagine the weight of responsibility resting on their shoulders, the pressure of leading a burgeoning city-state. The system wasn't perfect. Power struggles between the patricians, the wealthy landowners, and the plebeians, the common citizens, were frequent. The plebeians, though initially excluded from much of the political process, gradually won concessions, securing the right to elect their own tribunes, representatives who could veto laws they deemed unfair or harmful. Picture the tribunes standing firm against the power of the patricians, their voices, though perhaps smaller, carrying the weight of the people's concerns. Their presence was a testament to the slow, uneven progress toward a more just and equitable society. The forum itself was a living, breathing representation of this republic. Lawyers argued cases before the praetors, merchants bartered for goods, and ordinary citizens went about their daily lives. It was a hub of activity, a melting pot of ideas, a stage on which the drama of Roman politics played out. The sun would set on the forum, casting long shadows across the assembled stones. But the discussions, the debates, the quiet negotiations would continue, deep into the night, shaping the destiny of a city that one day rule an empire. The very air was thick with the history being made, a history whispered on the wind, a story still murmured in the stones themselves. And as the day ends and you drift off to sleep, remember this quiet hum of history, the gentle sway of power, the constant negotiation of a young republic finding its feet. Sleep well. The scent of salt and pine hung heavy in the air as the Roman galleys slipped from Ostia's harbor. Ahead lay the vast, shimmering expanse of the Mediterranean, a stage for a drama that would reshape the ancient world. The Punic Wars, a clash between Rome and Carthage, a city across the sea in North Africa, a city of immense wealth and power. You might picture fierce clashes on sun-drenched battlefields, the clash of bronze against bronze, the roar of the crowd. Imagine the Roman legions, their disciplined ranks marching towards the enemy, the steady beat of their feet a rhythmic pulse in the pre-dawn hush. Their shields, a wall of bronze and oak, reflect the rising sun, a shimmering testament to their might. These were not simply soldiers, they were citizens, farmers, artisans, all united under the banner of Rome. They fought not just for glory, but for their homes, their families, their very way of life. Carthage, on the other hand, was a different beast entirely. Think of bustling harbors packed with ships from across the known world, a melting pot of cultures and languages. The Carthaginians, shrewd traders and skilled sailors, commanded a vast network of trade routes. Their navy, with its sleek warships and experienced crews, was a formidable force, a match for anything Rome could muster. Their general, Hannibal, a name whispered with respect and fear even in Rome itself, was a master of strategy and tactics. The first clash came at sea. Picture the sun glinting off the oars as Roman and Carthaginian ships maneuvered, the cries of the sailors echoing across the waves. The air crackled with anticipation, the tension palpable as the ships drew near. Ramming attacks, the dreaded collision of wooden hulls, the splintering of timbers, the screams of the dying. Then the boarding actions, brutal hand-to-hand combat on the swaying decks, the clash of swords and shields in a maelstrom of violence. The smell of blood, the cries of the wounded. It was a chaotic ballet of death and destruction. Later conflicts saw the Romans on land, wrestling with Hannibal's strategies in the harsh landscapes of Italy and Spain. The Romans learned to adapt, to counter Hannibal's brilliant tactics, his use of elephants and the terrain to his advantage. Imagine the long, grueling campaigns, the sieges of fortified cities, the constant threat of ambush. The harsh sun beating down, the dust rising from the marching feet of thousands. The battles stretched on, year after year, a test of endurance and resilience. But even in the midst of such brutal conflicts, there were moments of unexpected beauty. The vibrant colors of the Carthaginian clothing, a stark contrast to the more muted tones of the Roman army. The intricate designs on their shields, reflecting a culture rich in artistry and craftsmanship. The two civilizations, so different yet so intertwined in their struggle, revealed themselves in these moments. The clash of cultures was as significant as the clash of steel. Ultimately, Rome's perseverance, combined with its ability to adapt and learn, prevailed, expanding its influence across the Mediterranean. As the waves of conflict subsided, so too did the sound of battle, replaced only by the gentle lull of the sea. The waves continue to wash ashore, a quiet testament to the long-ago conflicts and the empires they built. Now let the gentle sound of the waves lull you into a peaceful sleep. The year is 100 BC. Imagine the bustling streets of Rome, a city teeming with life, yet simmering with political unrest. In this world, a young man named Julius Caesar begins to make his mark. He wasn't born into immense wealth or power, but he possessed something far more potent: charisma. He had a way with words, a captivating presence that drew people to him, a natural ability to inspire loyalty and ambition in others. Caesar's early career was marked by a shrewd understanding of politics. He navigated the treacherous currents of Roman power struggles, making careful alliances and using his charm to win favor with influential figures. But Caesar's true ambition lay beyond the Senate chambers. It lay in the thrill of conquest, the glory of military victory. He craved the power that only a successful general could command. His first military campaigns were relatively small-scale, testing his mettle and building his reputation. He learned the art of war, not just through books and training, but through the experience of leading men in battle, experiencing the clash of steel and the roar of the crowd. He wasn't just a commander, he was a leader, sharing the dangers and hardships with his soldiers, earning their unwavering devotion. He understood the importance of morale, the power of a shared purpose. Soon, Caesar's name became synonymous with victory. His campaigns in Gaul, present-day France, were legendary. Picture him leading his legions through dense forests, across rushing rivers, battling fierce Celtic tribes. His strategic brilliance was evident in his swift victories, his tactical innovations allowing him to overcome seemingly insurmountable odds. Each battle won, each territory conquered, added another layer to his growing legend. His exploits weren't just military triumphs, they were political tools, solidifying his position as a man of immense power. News of his victories spread throughout Rome, fueling his ever-growing popularity among the people. But his success wasn't without its enemies. Many in the Roman Senate feared his ambition, his growing popularity, the sheer force of his personality. They saw his triumphs not as a benefit to Rome, but as a threat to the established order, a potential destabilization of the delicate balance of power. Yet Caesar, with his formidable legions and the unwavering support of his men, was becoming too powerful to ignore. The seeds of conflict were sown, a clash of ambition and power that would reshape the course of Roman history. His name, whispered in awe or fear, echoed through the corridors of the Senate and across the battlefields of Gaul, a testament to his charisma, his military prowess, and the insatiable ambition that propelled him towards the pinnacle of Roman power. The whispers would soon turn into roars as Caesar's journey continued, leading to a pivotal moment in the history of Rome, a moment that would forever change its destiny. And so we drift off to sleep, with the echoes of Caesar's rise still ringing in our ears. The year is 27 BC. Imagine the sun dipping below the horizon, casting long shadows across the 7 hills of Rome. A gentle breeze rustles through the olive groves surrounding the city, carrying the scent of wood smoke and distant sea salt. This is Rome under Augustus, the first Roman emperor. After decades of civil war, a fragile peace has settled over the land, a peace that would last for 2 centuries, a time known as the Pax Romana, the Roman peace. Picture the city itself, a breathtaking spectacle of marble and grandeur. The Forum, the heart of Rome, hums with a quieter energy than it once did. Less the clamor of political strife, more the steady pulse of commerce and daily life. New temples gleam in the setting sun, testaments to Augustus's ambitious building program. The temple of Mars Ultor, dedicated to the Avenger Mars, stands proudly, a symbol of the emperor's victory and the restoration of order. Think of the artisans, their skilled hands carefully carving intricate details into the stone, creating works of art that would endure for millennia. The streets, though still bustling, are safer now. The legions, once engaged in internecine warfare, are now patrolling the vast frontiers of the empire, keeping the peace and expanding Roman influence across Europe, North Africa, and the Near East. Think of the legionaries, their disciplined ranks marching through sun-drenched landscapes, their presence a quiet reassurance to the often troubled regions they secured. Their boots on the road, the rhythmic clang of their armor, a lullaby of order and stability that allowed for trade, commerce, and culture to flourish. In the grand houses of the wealthy, life is opulent. elegant banquets are held, featuring delicacies from across the empire. Plump olives from Greece, fragrant spices from the East, rich wines from Gaul. Imagine the soft murmur of conversation, the clinking of goblets, the gentle strains of music drifting through the air. Life, for many Romans, is comfortable, even luxurious. The Pax Romana brings a sense of security, a chance to build, to create, to enjoy the fruits of a relatively peaceful age. But the Pax Romana wasn't simply a time of ease. It was a carefully constructed peace, maintained by the power and authority of the emperor and his legions. This authority came at a cost. While many prospered, many more toiled under the empire's vast and complex system of governance. The provinces provided wealth and manpower, but they also required constant vigilance. The empire was vast, and its stability was always tenuous, subject to the whims of nature, the rebellions of conquered peoples, and the shifting currents of power within Rome itself. Yet the image that remains is one of relative calm. Imagine the moon rising over the Roman Forum, casting its silvery glow on the ancient stones. The city sleeps, but the empire watches. The legions stand guard, the emperor governs, and the Pax Romana, a fragile yet enduring peace, holds sway over a vast and sprawling world. Let that image settle over you, a quiet picture of an age of relative calm, a whisper of history lulling you towards a peaceful sleep. Breathe deeply, and let the gentle rhythm of the past carry you away. Sleep now. Sleep. The Roman legions, tireless in their march, continued to push the boundaries of the known world. Imagine, if you will, the dust settling on the newly conquered lands, the sun setting over a landscape that stretched further than any emperor had dreamed. From the sun-drenched shores of North Africa, where the scent of olives and dates hung heavy in the air, to the misty green hills of Britannia, the Roman eagle soared. Each new province added to the empire brought not only new territory, but also a rich tapestry of cultures, languages, and traditions. Think of the bustling marketplaces of Alexandria, a crossroads of the world, where merchants from distant lands haggled over spices, silks, and precious stones. The echoes of many tongues mingled in the air, a testament to the empire's astonishing diversity. You might picture a Roman soldier, weary but proud, sharing a meal with a Gaulish farmer, their differences overshadowed by a shared sense of belonging under the rule of Rome. Further east, the grandeur of the Levant unfolded, a land of ancient cities and breathtaking landscapes. The Romans, with their remarkable engineering skills, built roads that snaked through valleys and climbed mountains, connecting distant villages and cities. These roads, arteries of the empire, carried not only legions and merchants, but also the ideas and innovations that shaped Roman society. Imagine the rhythmic clang of the blacksmith's hammer in a Syrian village, or the gentle hum of activity in a bustling market in Antioch, the city's vibrant energy a testament to its place within this vast network. The incorporation of these diverse territories wasn't always peaceful, of course. Conquest often involved struggle and sacrifice. Yet, over time, a unique blend of cultures emerged, a melting pot where Roman traditions intertwined with those of the conquered peoples. The elegance of Greek architecture found its way into Roman cities, while the practicality of Celtic craftsmanship influenced Roman design. Even the language of the Romans evolved, absorbing words and phrases from the various languages they encountered. Imagine the slow, steady merging of languages and ideas, a quiet evolution. Slowly, gradually, the vastness of the empire became a reality, From the northern fringes of the Rhine, where the legions stood guard against barbarian tribes, to the sands of the Sahara, where Roman settlements dotted the oases, the empire exerted its influence. Imagine the distant flicker of a lamp in a Roman outpost, a tiny point of light representing the reach of this magnificent civilization. Think of the unified currency that flowed throughout this immense land, a tangible symbol of the power and wealth it controlled. The sheer scale of it is almost impossible to fully comprehend. This immense system functioning with surprising efficiency, connecting distant places and shaping the course of history. As you drift off to sleep, feel the weight of that expansive history settle over you, peaceful and vast as the empire itself. Now, drift away with me to a time of relative calm in the vast Roman Empire. Imagine a world, not entirely free of troubles, of course, but one where a series of emperors, 5 in all, steered the ship of state with a surprising degree of wisdom and skill. We call them the 5 good emperors, a label bestowed long after their reigns, a testament to the peace and prosperity they brought to a world accustomed to turmoil. It all began with Nerva, a man chosen for his age and wisdom, a calming influence after a period of unrest. He was an older statesman, not a warrior king, and his reign was short, but it set the stage. He understood the need for stability, for mending the fractured threads of the empire. Picture the hushed quiet of his study late at night, the flickering lamplight illuminating scrolls filled with decrees aimed at restoring order and fairness. Then came Trajan, a soldier emperor, yes, but one who used his military prowess not for conquest alone, but for the expansion of the empire's infrastructure and its reach. Think of vast projects underway, new roads snaking across the landscape, connecting far-flung provinces, aqueducts carrying life-giving water to thirsty cities, and public works providing employment and a sense of shared purpose. Imagine the rhythmic clang of hammers, the steady drone of workers, the slow, satisfying progress of these grand enterprises under his careful guidance. The sun warmed the backs of laborers, building a better tomorrow, their efforts undergirding a golden age. Next came Hadrian, a man known for his pragmatism and his love of learning. He consolidated the empire's borders, focusing on defense and internal improvements rather than endless expansion. Visualize the gentle lapping of the waves as he walked the shores of his empire, a thoughtful ruler considering the needs of his people. He commissioned grand libraries and built magnificent walls, not as symbols of aggression, but as protectors of peace and learning, a testament to his belief in the power of knowledge and the beauty of cultivated order. After Hadrian came Antoninus Pius, a ruler so peaceful and just that some historians have considered his reign a near-perfect example of Roman governance. His reign, you might say, was a quiet symphony of stability, a gentle melody of prosperity and contentment. Imagine a countryside blooming under his reign, the farms thriving, the markets bustling, a peaceful hum of everyday life unfolding under the gentle hand of a just emperor. People lived secure in their homes and their livelihoods, confident in the justice of the system governing their lives. And lastly, there was Marcus Aurelius, a philosopher-emperor, whose writings, meditations, still resonate across millennia. He faced challenges, wars and plagues, but he met them with stoic calm and a commitment to reason and justice. Envision him in his tent, poring over his writings under the soft glow of a lamp,
seeking wisdom to navigate the trials of leadership and to bring solace to his people during the inevitable hardships that came with the times. His reign was punctuated by the rhythm of battle, but undergirded by a profound sense of duty and unwavering conviction. The reigns of these 5 emperors, taken together, form a remarkably peaceful period in Roman history. It was an era not of perfect utopia, but of relative stability, a golden age, in which the empire flourished both internally and in its relations with other powers. It was a time when people could look to the future with hope, and where the gentle hum of daily life prevailed for a time over the din of conflict. Let the image of that peace and prosperity calm your mind and lull you into a restful sleep.
The 2nd century had been a time of relative peace and prosperity for the Roman Empire. But as the sun dipped below the horizon on that era, a long shadow stretched across the land, foreshadowing the difficulties to come. The 3rd century. The 3rd century. Imagine, if you will, the slow, unsettling creep of instability. It wasn't a sudden explosion, not a dramatic battlefield clash that shattered the peace. Instead, it was a gradual erosion, a slow crumbling of the foundations upon which the empire was built. Civil wars, like a persistent fever, gripped the heart of the empire. Ambitious generals, each with their own legions and their own visions of power, clashed for control. Think of the endless marching of soldiers, the clang of their armor, a mournful rhythm in the night, the weary sighs of civilians caught in the crossfire. Rome, the city of 7 hills, echoed with the cries of the desperate and the thunder of conflict, not the celebratory roar of its glorious past. The economy, once the engine of the vast empire, sputtered and stalled. Inflation, a silent thief, crept into the markets, steadily eroding the value of the denarius, the Roman coin. Think of the farmers, their fields yielding less and less, their prices dwindling, their livelihoods threatened. Picture the merchants, their stalls growing emptier, their faces etched with worry, as trade routes became hazardous and unreliable due to the ever-present threat of war and banditry. The once vibrant tapestry of Roman commerce began to unravel, thread by thread. And then there were the barbarians, not a singular monstrous horde, but a multitude of tribes, each with their own grievances and ambitions, pressing against the borders of the empire. From the north, the Goths, the Franks, the Alemanni, their names, whispered with a mix of fear and respect, echoed across the Roman world. They weren't just raiding parties anymore. They were carving out territories, pushing deeper into Roman lands, their advances relentless. Imagine the fear in the hearts of the Roman citizens, the uncertainty that hung heavy in the air like a shroud. The familiar order, the sense of security that had defined generations, was breaking down. The mighty legions, once the invincible shield of Rome, were stretched thin, fighting on multiple fronts, struggling to contain the tide of unrest. The once grand roads, arteries of the empire, were often unsafe, choked with refugees fleeing the violence. Night fell often in the 3rd century, bringing with it not the peace of slumber, but the anxious vigil of a people clinging to hope in the face of chaos. The very fabric of Roman society, frayed and worn, seemed on the verge of tearing apart completely.
The shimmering light of the past glories of Rome seemed to dim, overshadowed by the encroaching darkness of uncertainty. But even in this time of turmoil, the human spirit endured, finding strength in small communities, in family, in faith. A flickering candle in the storm, and that flame, however small, continued to burn, waiting for the dawn of a new age.
The Roman Empire, vast and sprawling, felt the weight of its own success. Centuries of expansion had stretched its resources thin, and a sense of unease settled over the land. The emperors, powerful as they were, struggled to maintain control over such a massive territory. Then came Diocletian, a strong and determined man who saw the cracks in the foundation and sought a way to mend them. He understood that the old ways were no longer sufficient. The sheer size of the empire made it impossible for a single ruler to effectively govern. So he devised a new system, a bold experiment in administration known as the Tetrarchy, the rule of 4. Imagine the Roman world shifting under this new arrangement. Diocletian, the senior Augustus, ruled from Nicomedia in the east, a city shimmering with eastern opulence. He chose a co-Augustus, Maximian, a man known for his military prowess, to govern the west from Milan, a city of bustling commerce and political intrigue. To ensure a smooth succession and to further solidify the empire's defenses, 2 junior Caesars were appointed. Galerius, a capable and ambitious general, served under Diocletian in the east, learning the intricacies of governance from the master himself. Constantius Chlorus, a more moderate and diplomatic figure, supported Maximian in the west. Picture the administrative changes unfolding like the slow, deliberate growth of a mighty tree. The empire was divided into 4 prefectures, each under the watchful eye of a powerful official. These prefectures were further divided into dioceses and then into provinces, a network of governance spreading its tendrils across the land. This intricate system aimed to bring order and efficiency to the collection of taxes, the mobilization of troops, and the administration of justice. Think of it as a carefully constructed puzzle, each piece vital to the overall picture of stability. Each emperor had his own court, his own armies, and his own responsibilities. The weight of the empire, once resting solely on the shoulders of one man, was now distributed, shared amongst 4. This, Diocletian hoped, would prevent the overextension of power and the inevitable exhaustion that had plagued previous rulers. This wasn't simply a political shift, it was a restructuring of the very fabric of Roman governance. But even the most carefully planned systems face unforeseen challenges. The Tetrarchy, while initially promising, carried within it the seeds of its own undoing. Ambition, that ever-present force in the corridors of power, simmered beneath the surface. The delicate balance between the 4 rulers was easily disturbed. The personal rivalries, the struggles for dominance, the whispers of discontent, these were all part of the intricate tapestry of the Tetrarchy, slowly unraveling the emperor's grand design. The dream of lasting peace and stability, though earnestly sought, proved ultimately elusive, a testament to the enduring challenges of ruling a vast and complex empire. Yet, for a time, the system brought a measure of order and renewed vigor to the Roman world, a fleeting moment of stability in a long and turbulent history. And so, as the sun sets on this chapter, we drift off to sleep, remembering the ambitious attempt to reform an empire. A story whispered on the winds of time. The late Roman Empire. Imagine vast, sun-drenched lands stretching across Europe and North Africa. For centuries, a tapestry of gods and goddesses had woven their stories into the fabric of Roman life. Jupiter, the king of the gods, ruled the pantheon. His presence felt in the grand temples and the daily rituals of the people. But a quiet shift was underway, a subtle change humming beneath the surface of Roman society. A new faith, Christianity, was spreading, carried on whispers and shared beliefs, finding its way into the hearts and minds of people from all walks of life. This new faith, with its simple message of love and forgiveness, spoke to a longing for something deeper, a connection to something greater than the often cruel world around them. It offered hope in times of hardship, solace in suffering. And slowly, steadily, Christianity began to grow. It was a gradual process, a seed taking root and growing in the fertile soil of human longing. Then came Constantine, a powerful emperor, a shrewd leader. He saw the growing strength of this new faith. Perhaps he felt its pull within himself. Whatever the reason, a pivotal moment arrived. The legend of the vision, a cross blazing across the sky with the words, "In this sign, conquer," is a captivating tale, a story whispered from generation to generation. Whether the vision was real or a symbolic representation of the emperor's choice, it marked a turning point. Constantine's adoption of Christianity wasn't a sudden dramatic conversion. It was a gradual embrace, a complex political and spiritual journey. He saw the potential of unifying the vast empire under a single faith. Christianity, with its emphasis on unity and shared beliefs, seemed a powerful tool to help consolidate his power and bring peace to a troubled realm. Over time, Constantine extended his favor to the Christians. He issued the Edict of Milan, granting religious tolerance throughout the empire. This wasn't just a gesture of goodwill. It was a strategic move, a recognition of the growing influence of this new religion. Slowly, Christianity's position changed. From a persecuted sect, it evolved into a favored faith, its followers emerging from the shadows to participate more fully in society. The transformation wasn't immediate. The old pagan beliefs still held sway in many places, and the transition wasn't without its challenges. But the tide had turned. The seeds of change, sown over years of quiet devotion, now flourished in the sunlight of imperial support. Grand basilicas were constructed, beautiful places of worship that reflected the growing dominance of the Christian faith. Constantine's influence on the rise of Christianity was immense. His support wasn't merely a matter of policy. It represented a profound shift in the spiritual and political landscape of the Roman Empire. As the years passed, Christianity grew increasingly dominant, its story becoming intertwined with the very fabric of the empire. This new belief system, once a quiet whisper, now echoed across the vast expanse of the Roman world, a testament to the endurance of faith and the remarkable impact of a single emperor's decision. As the empire shifts and the world changed around it, Christianity stood firm, a beacon of faith that would continue to shape civilizations for centuries to come. And so, as the sun sets on this story and the quiet of the night descends, let its gentle lessons soothe your mind and lull you into a peaceful slumber. The year is 395. Imagine the vast Roman Empire, stretching from the misty shores of Britain to the sun-drenched sands of North Africa, a colossal tapestry woven from centuries of conquest and administration. But the threads of this magnificent cloth are beginning to fray, to loosen their hold. Emperor Theodosius I, a man burdened by the weight of his empire, breathes his last. And with his passing, a profound shift occurs, a silent tremor that will reshape the course of history. His sons, Arcadius and Honorius, inherit the legacy, but not the unity. The empire, vast and unwieldy, is divided. Arcadius, the elder, takes the east, a realm brimming with the vibrant cultures of the Levant and the wealth of Alexandria. Honorius, the younger, receives the west, a land increasingly challenged by barbarian migrations and internal strife. A single empire, splintered, becomes two. Picture Arcadius in Constantinople, the new capital, a city shimmering with gold and marble, a beacon of Eastern splendor. He reigns over lands steeped in ancient history, a melting pot of Greek, Egyptian, and Syrian traditions. His empire, though facing its share of challenges, enjoys a degree of stability, a relative peace that allows its rich cultural heritage to flourish. Trade routes hum with activity, bringing silks from the Far East and spices from distant lands. The language of administration, the language of the court, is Greek, a testament to the enduring legacy of Hellenic civilization. Scholars and artists thrive under the patronage of the emperors, preserving the knowledge and beauty of the ancient world. The Eastern Roman Empire, later known as Byzantium, will continue to thrive for another 1,000 years, a testament to its resilience and adaptability. Now, let your mind travel westward. Honorius sits in Rome, the ancient heart of the empire, but the heart is growing weak. The Western Roman Empire faces relentless pressure from migrating tribes, the Visigoths, the Vandals, the Huns. Their armies, hardened by years of nomadic life, clash with the Roman legions, their swords ringing out a mournful dirge for a fading era. The once mighty legions, weakened by internal conflicts and economic instability, struggle to hold back the tide. The vast territories, once seamlessly connected by a network of roads and administrative systems, begin to fracture under the weight of these pressures. Cities, once symbols of Roman grandeur, fall prey to sack and plunder. The language of administration remains Latin, but its echoes grow fainter as the empire struggles to maintain control. While the East adapts and finds new sources of strength, the West fights a losing battle against the forces of change, its fate slowly sealed by internal decay and external pressure. Imagine the two halves of the empire, once united, now diverging along separate paths. One, embracing its Eastern heritage, will endure for centuries, a beacon of learning and faith in the heart of the Eastern Mediterranean. The other, beset by internal conflicts and barbarian invasions, will eventually succumb to the relentless pressures of time and the changing world. Two destinies, intertwined by history, yet ultimately diverging, each forging its own unique path through the annals of time. And as the sounds of this historical narrative fade, allow yourself to drift into a peaceful slumber. The sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the once proud Roman roads. Dust, kicked up by weary travelers and the occasional, hesitant hoofbeat, settled gently on the crumbling stones. The Western Roman Empire, once a beacon of power and civilization, was fading. The vibrant tapestry of its life was beginning to unravel, thread by thread. Think of it, if you will, like a magnificent garden slowly overtaken by encroaching weeds. For centuries, the legions of Rome had marched, their disciplined ranks a bulwark against the world. But the strength that had once been boundless was now showing its age. The vast empire, stretched thin across Europe and North Africa, was becoming harder and harder to govern. Internal divisions festered like unseen rot in a great tree. Emperors rose and fell with alarming rapidity, each clinging desperately to power, leaving behind a trail of political intrigue and instability. Beyond the borders, a shifting tide of peoples were pressing inwards. The Goths, the Vandals, the Huns, names whispered with apprehension in hushed tones. They weren't simply raiders, as some might mistakenly think. They were tribes seeking land and security, their own societies under immense pressures. Their movements, though often violent, were a response to forces beyond their control, a desperate search for a better existence. Picture them, if you can, these vast migrations, a slow, inexorable wave pushing against the established order. Imagine the scenes at the borders, Roman soldiers, weary and under-equipped, clashing with the invaders. Hard-fought battles, won and lost, their echoes fading across the landscape. The once impenetrable frontiers, meticulously maintained for centuries, were now breached and overrun. The orderly rhythm of Roman life was disrupted, replaced by a growing sense of chaos and uncertainty. Cities, once symbols of Roman grandeur, began to fall, one by one. Their proud walls, once so formidable, were breached by siege engines and sheer force of numbers. Rome itself, the heart of the empire, felt the tremor of this seismic shift. The great city, a testament to human ambition, became increasingly vulnerable. The constant threat of invasion hung heavy in the air, a palpable weight bearing down on its citizens. Think of the people of Rome, the artisans, the merchants, the senators, each caught in the maelstrom of events, struggling to maintain a sense of normality in a world that was rapidly changing. Their routines disrupted, their future uncertain, a slow melancholy seeped into the very fabric of daily life. The grandeur began to dim, replaced by a somber recognition of an ending. Slowly, the western half of the empire succumbed. The once unstoppable legions faded into obscurity, their power a distant memory. The final fall was not a single dramatic event, but a slow, agonizing decline. It was a drawn-out sunset, painting the skies in shades of gray and despair. And as the last vestiges of Roman power in the West faded into the past, a new chapter began, a new era in the endless tapestry of human history. Sleep now and dream of calmer times. As the sun dips low over the hills, let's drift away to the shimmering shores of the Eastern Roman Empire, a land often called Byzantium. Imagine, if you will, the city of Constantinople, a jewel nestled between Europe and Asia. Its walls, massive and strong, guarded a bustling city teeming with life. The air hummed with 1,000 different sounds, the murmur of merchants haggling in the marketplace, the rhythmic clang of a blacksmith's hammer, the chanting of priests from the magnificent Hagia Sophia, a cathedral that whispered of imperial power and divine grace. Picture the streets, narrow and winding, paved with smooth stones. You might see elegant carriages drawn by sturdy horses, carrying richly dressed nobles to their grand estates. Or perhaps a humble donkey cart laden with fresh produce from the countryside, its driver singing a lilting tune. The aroma of spices and roasted meats hung heavy in the air, a symphony of smells that tantalized the senses. The Byzantine Empire wasn't just a collection of impressive buildings and bustling streets. It was a melting pot of cultures. Romans, Greeks, Persians, Arabs, and many others lived and worked together, their different traditions weaving a vibrant tapestry of daily life. Think of the intricate mosaics adorning the churches, shimmering with gold and vibrant colors, telling stories of saints and emperors. Consider the delicate artistry of Byzantine icons, painted with painstaking detail, capturing the essence of faith and devotion. The emperors of Byzantium, ruling from their magnificent palace, held sway over a vast territory. They were not merely rulers, but also protectors of the Christian faith. Considered the basileus, or emperor, a title echoing the grandeur of their Roman predecessors. Their power extended far beyond the city walls, reaching across the Mediterranean Sea and into the far reaches of the empire's influence. But life wasn't always easy. The empire faced many challenges: constant threats from invaders, internal strife, and periods of economic hardship. Yet, even in the face of adversity, the spirit of Byzantium endured. Its scholars preserved ancient texts, keeping the flame of learning alive. Its artists created masterpieces, showcasing the empire's unique blend of styles and traditions. Its soldiers, though often outnumbered, fought bravely to defend their homeland. The legacy of the Byzantine Empire is profound and far-reaching. Its laws, its art, its architecture, and its religious traditions left an indelible mark on the world, influencing the development of many cultures across Europe, the Middle East, and beyond. Even today, as you explore ancient cities or admire beautiful works of art, you might find echoes of the Byzantine Empire, a whisper from a glorious past. Let this image of Constantinople, shimmering in the fading light, guide you gently into the quiet embrace of sleep. May your dreams be filled with the splendor and the enduring legacy of Byzantium. As the sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, let us drift back in time to the heart of the Roman Empire. Imagine the bustling streets of Rome, the imposing structures of the Colosseum and the Pantheon, a civilization that, even after its fall, continues to whisper its story in the very fabric of our world. This is the legacy of Rome, a profound and lasting influence on the Western civilization we inhabit today. Picture a young lawyer meticulously poring over legal texts, their words echoing with the principles of Roman law. The concept of codified law, of clear and established legal precedents, isn't some modern invention. It's a gift from the Romans, their meticulous legal system forming the bedrock of many legal structures around the globe. Even today, legal terminology, concepts like habeas corpus and innocent until proven guilty, bear the undeniable stamp of Roman influence. Those carefully crafted laws, debated and refined across centuries, continue to shape how societies administer justice. Listen to the gentle murmur of languages, the subtle echoes of Latin in the words we use every day. From words like via and aqua, describing roads and water, to scientific terms and even the very structure of many modern languages, the influence of Latin is deeply woven into the tapestry of communication. You might not realize it, but the words that you speak and read carry within them the subtle echoes of the Roman Empire.
It's a silent testament to its vast reach and lasting influence. Now, let your gaze drift to the majestic structures that dot our landscapes. The soaring arches, the enduring strength of concrete, the elegant symmetry of Roman architecture. These aren't merely beautiful buildings, but testaments to Roman engineering prowess. Think of the aqueducts, bringing fresh water to sprawling cities, or the enduring roads that connected vast stretches of land. These architectural marvels, some standing even today, demonstrate a level of technical skill that profoundly shaped how civilizations planned and built their environments. The same principles of design and construction inspire architects even now. You can almost feel the echoes of Roman ingenuity in the designs of many modern buildings, a subtle tribute to their mastery of building. Finally, consider the political systems that govern our lives. The concepts of a republic, of representative government, the very idea of a codified constitution all have their roots in the Roman experience. Though imperfect in many ways, the Roman Republic, with its Senate and its attempts at checks and balances, served as a blueprint for future political models. The idea of citizenship, of rights and responsibilities, is a concept that found its powerful expression in Roman society. Even the very concept of an empire, while carrying complexities, has its legacy in Rome's vast dominion. The Roman model, its strengths and failings, remains a critical topic of study and discussion, shaping how we approach political structures even in the 21st century. And so, as you drift off to sleep, remember the quiet power of Rome's legacy. It isn't a fading memory, but a vibrant presence in our present, a silent partner in the story of Western civilization. The echoes of its past continue to resonate in the laws we uphold, the languages we speak, the structures that surround us, and the political systems that shape our world. Let its influence guide your dreams.
The sun dips low, casting long shadows across the 7 hills. Imagine yourself there, on a quiet evening in ancient Rome. The bustling marketplace has fallen silent, the chariots are still, and the echoes of 1,000 conversations fade into the twilight. For a moment, let the weight of centuries settle upon you, a gentle blanket of history. Rome. The very name whispers of grandeur, of legions marching, of emperors ruling, of magnificent structures that still stand as testaments to human ambition. Picture the Colosseum, its stones worn smooth by the passage of time, a silent witness to countless spectacles, triumphs, and tragedies. Think of the aqueducts carrying life-giving water across the landscape, a feat of engineering that continues to amaze. And imagine the Forum, the heart of the city, once thrumming with the pulse of political debate, religious ceremony, and everyday life. This empire, built on military might and shrewd political maneuvering, stretched its influence across vast territories, bringing both order and oppression. The roads, meticulously planned, connected distant corners of the empire, facilitating trade and communication, yet also serving as arteries for the movement of armies. Generations of Romans, from humble citizens to powerful senators, shaped its destiny, their actions leaving an indelible mark on the world. But even empires crumble. The seeds of Rome's decline were sown slowly, perhaps imperceptibly at first. Internal strife, corruption, and economic instability gnawed at its foundations.
The vastness of the empire became a burden, making administration and defense increasingly challenging. Barbarian invasions, once repelled with ease, began to chip away at its borders, revealing cracks in its seemingly impenetrable armor. Think of the emperors, some wise and just, others cruel and tyrannical. Their decisions, their triumphs, and their failures all contributed to the empire's eventual fate. Consider the weight of their crowns, the burden of their responsibilities, and the complexities of ruling such a vast and diverse population. Their stories, woven together, form a tapestry of ambition, power, and ultimately, mortality. The fall of Rome wasn't a single catastrophic event, but a gradual process, a slow fading of light. It was a decline marked by internal weaknesses exploited by external pressures. It was a story of ambition tempered by human fallibility. As the stars begin to emerge, painting the night sky with their ancient brilliance, let the story of Rome sink in. It is a story of remarkable achievements, of enduring legacies, and of inevitable change. It is a reminder that even the mightiest empires are not impervious to time, that growth and decay are inherent parts of the cyclical nature of history. Breathe deeply. Let the lessons of Rome settle into your thoughts, a quiet meditation on the rise and fall of civilizations. The grandeur, the struggles, the ultimate fate, all are part of the endless, fascinating story of humanity. And as you drift towards sleep, may the echoes of Rome's past whisper peaceful dreams.
The sun dips low, casting long shadows across the 7 hills of Rome. Dust motes dance in the fading light, a silent ballet performed for a city slowly surrendering to the night. Imagine yourself there, perhaps leaning against a cool marble column, the rough texture a comforting presence against your skin. The air, thick with the scent of wood smoke and distant spices, carries the murmur of 1,000 conversations, each whisper now fading into the twilight hush. Think of the grand Colosseum, its stones worn smooth by centuries of sun and rain, now cloaked in the gentle embrace of darkness. The roars of the crowds, the clash of gladiatorial steel, are echoes only, ghosts of a vibrant past. The majestic arches stand sentinel, silent witnesses to triumphs and tragedies, emperors and slaves, all now swept away by the relentless tide of time. Across the forum, the shadows lengthen, obscuring the shattered remnants of once magnificent temples. The whispers of the gods, once loud and insistent, have dwindled to a faint sigh. The bustling marketplace, once a cacophony of bartering and laughter, is still, a canvas painted with the soft hues of the setting sun. Even the mighty Tiber River, that lifeblood of the empire, flows more quietly now, its currents a gentle lullaby. Picture yourself strolling along its banks, the cool night air brushing against your face. The distant sounds of nocturnal creatures, an owl's soft hoot, the rustle of leaves, are the only accompaniment to your quiet walk. The stars begin to emerge, tiny pinpricks of light in the vast expanse of the night sky, each one a distant sun in its own right. They've watched empires rise and fall, silent observers of the human drama unfolding below. As you walk, you might glimpse the faint glow of a distant oil lamp in a humble dwelling, a tiny spark of warmth in the vast darkness.
Within those walls, a family gathers, sharing a simple meal, their voices a low hum in the stillness of the night. Their lives, though ordinary, are as much a part of this grand tapestry of history as the emperors and senators. Rome, in its twilight years, was a city of contrasts. Immense grandeur juxtaposed with quiet poverty, breathtaking beauty alongside stark decay. But even in its decline, there was a certain melancholic charm, a poignant beauty in the slow surrender to the inevitable. Let the gentle rhythm of the night, the quiet whispers of the ancient stones, lull you into a peaceful state. Sweet dreams, the echoes of the empire will keep you safe throughout the night.